Barakatah Hawa, Barakatah Hawa Shai, Barakatah Hawa, Barakatah Hawa Shai, Barakatah Hawa, Barakatah Hawa Shai. All praise to Yahweh by Shema Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that do the truth of sincerity. Now this is from Al Jazeera on why they're protesting in Iran. Now us that's in the know that America's ultimate goal is to try to get into Iran, to help bring about this new world order. So we know that America sends its agents in some of these nations to help, bring the downfall of these nations. Send their agents in. How the agents start like little uprisings, which is in the form of these protests, little uproars, into the people. Ultimately like overtake their government. And that's basically what you see happening right here. It's all biblical prophecy, but America then did this also to Syria, Libya, Ukraine, and I'm pretty sure they did to a whole bunch of other nations that I can't think of at this point in time. But yeah, that what's going on in Iran is just a way that America can come over there and be the police to the world and shit, man. So I'm gonna play this clip and I'm gonna play another one.
Mohamed Morandi is a professor at Tehran University. He joins us now from the capital, Tehran. Good to have you with us. Why have people been protesting over the past few days?
Thank you. Well, there are economic difficulties in the country. The Iranian people, after the JCPOA, many of them had expectations that the economic situation would improve. But as we saw, both Obama and Trump, they repeatedly violated the JCPOA by passing new laws, such as the Iran Sanctions Act under Obama, the visa restriction laws, and also under Trump, the presidential decrees restricting visas, and also the more recent sanctions on Iran. So the Treasury.
A lot of more sanctions that America then did throughout the past years under the Obama administration was stopping certain medicines and certain money in certain bank accounts and stuff of that nature, so that the people could uprise and basically try to get at the government of Iran and basically have them stop what they're doing and be subjection up under America, when that ain't finna happen, man, because the Lord got it to where they have to bring about this new world order. America has to, try to bring about this new world order, but Iran has to stand up for itself and ultimately shoot missiles upon America, because the whole reason why they putting sanctions on Iran is because Iran trying to pursue their nuclear deal. I mean, their nuclear agenda, which is to get use nuclear energy and stuff of that nature, and America doesn't want that to happen. Iran then kept all the laws and abided by all the little laws and stuff that America put out there. The rules and shit that they said they had to follow and shit of that nature. But America ended up violating its agreements. So that's another reason why one, America and Iran are into it, and also these people are rising up. But it's ultimately just prophecy, man. I'm gonna get some scriptures after these
And
videos.
other arms of the U.S. government, both under Obama and Trump, have basically weakened the JCPOA extensively,
Right,
and that
okay.
has
If I could just jump in there, because if we
basically
focus on the
kept a lot
protests
of the
more, and we're
sanctions
quite
regime intact.
used to seeing in Iran small protests against economic conditions, but what's interesting about these is that they've spread to numerous cities and they've been picked up by social media outlets. There's some sort of movement that appears to be going on, or is that not the case?
It's difficult to say, because on the one hand, the economic situation is something that exists across the board. But of course, I think Iranians, while they're upset with mismanagement, but they also recognize that the administration is being prevented from doing a lot of what it's trying to do because of the United States and its allies and the sanctions that I mentioned. And of course, social media makes things much more easy, so people have information. But also, there is a fact that has to be kept in mind, and that while some people have been protesting uh, economic problems, we do see a very distinct effort on behalf of foreign governments. For example, BBC Persian, which belongs to the British government, the VOA, which is owned by the United States government, and media outlets that are directly or indirectly funded by the West. They are showing an effort to expand the protests. They're trying to intensify them, in order to politicize them.
Okay,
so I think it's a combination.
I want to get an idea then
of
how
Mhm.
concerned the government is, because we do see the government coming out and recognising that these protests are about more than the economics of the country. I mean, we're hearing anti-government slogans: "Death to Rouhani," "Forget Palestine," "No to Gaza," "No to Lebanon." You know, deriding Iran's foreign policies. I mean, how concerned is the government about this?
Yeah, Iran is helping. If I'm not mistaken, Lebanon and a couple other nations. I know they're helping Syria also. Iran has some troops in Syria, so that's what they basically talking about and shit.
Well, the protesters, although, as you rightly pointed out, are not large in number, but even you have to keep in mind that these protesters are not all chanting the same slogans. Some of them have been chanting anti-government slogans or slogans against Iranian foreign policy. But when you look at the clips, you see that in some cases there's unity in the slogans, and in other cases, when there are radical voices, then you see a lot of the crowd not repeating their slogans. So it's
Those are usually the agents, the CIA, the ones that they got over there and put the bug in certain people's ear, paid them off, have you will, and probably gather some other people, you know, and even if they didn't gather them, some people probably feeling some type of way anyway. So you know, just to help forth the agenda, though.
not so simple, but there is a concerted effort, I think, on behalf of the Western media outlets. And I think this is something you have to keep in mind, that in Iran, whenever there's any sign of discontent, you will always have the main think tanks in the Western media saying that the regime is about to implode and the regime is unpopular, and we've been hearing that for 39 years now.
I do take your point there, because it is quite interesting just how quickly the Trump administration has been jumping on these protests, warning the government not to react with a heavy hand.
Now watch what he say.
Yes, it is ironic, especially Trump being such a divisive figure inside the United States, and the protests and the counter-protests in the United States, and in Charlottesville, we had a person killed. And on the other hand, we see that the United States is supporting Saudi Arabia in the destruction of Yemen and in mass genocide through starvation. We see the United States, both under Obama and Trump, supporting extremist groups in Syria. It's not really for the United States to talk about human rights when it comes to
Yeah, curse their ass out.
Thanks very much for joining us.
America's some fucking hypocrites. All right, now this is another up to date on what's going on now. If I play this, check this out too, right here, man. Cause it's a lot of information coming out. How it's shot speeding up the time and everything. So that's good. I haven't finished watching it. I just turned it on, listened to a couple of things, but it's excellent. It's a lot of information, coming out to further understand what's going on in Iran and why it's happening.
For the third day in a row, they were out on the streets. Fighting with police went on into the night, Anti-government protesters, most of them students, facing up to riot police outside Tehran University. But what began as a protest about rising food prices and welfare benefit cuts turned political on Saturday.
See the same thing going on all over the world right now, man. Rising inflation, food cuts. You know, this whole world, the whole world is going to shit. You know, that's because that's through the spirit of Yahweh Shai. The Lord is visiting this place, man. It's time for this place to come down, man. Time for this whole world to come down. You know, up under the subjection of Yahweh Shai. Because when Yahweh Shai come back, he coming to take all the crowns of the nations. And what you see happening now is his prophecy on him bringing it to pass.
Earlier in the day, they chanted, "Not Gaza, not Lebanon, my life for Iran." Don't be afraid, we're staying strong together. An expression of anger about claims the government is focusing more on regional issues than economic problems at home. Iranian TV showed a display of strength by crowds of pro-government supporters in cities nationwide. Tens of thousands of people on the streets chanting "Death to America, down with Israel" in support of Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei.
People have protested against inflation and other problems, but that does not show that our people have turned on each other or are against the ruling system and their leadership.
The pro-government rallies were pre-planned to mark the anniversary of the end of the unrest that shook the country in 2009. Unrest in Iran prompted several tweets from the US president on Saturday, warning oppressive regimes cannot endure forever. Many reports of peaceful protest by Iranian citizens fed up with the regime's corruption and its squandering of the nation's wealth to fund terrorism abroad. The Iranian government should respect their people's rights, including rights to express themselves. The world is watching.
For some time now,
World,
there's been
you
some
watching
disparaged
America,
groups
and this
protesting,
what it is.
whether it's savers who've lost their savings through these corrupt financial institutions, whether it's pensioners who are no longer getting their pensions or have to live on reduced pensions, it's people who are worried about the environment, it's women, it's all these groups, and they've been protesting and protesting, and you could see that their slogans are now becoming more radical. You could see that the atmosphere is getting tenser and tenser. And most of all, what you could see is that they no longer seem to have that fear from the security forces. They're at the end of their tether.
While this was a huge display of support for the Iranian leadership, the government will be concerned at just how quickly a protest about food prices could become political. Peter Sharp, Al Jazeera.
All right, now I'm gonna get into some scriptures.